What's going on, guys? Welcome to the first freaking video in my how-to series of how to put together a medieval battle scene. Pop it. In this video, we're gonna go over the prep work that went into this to make this scene go as smoothly as possible. Preparation is so important because it's not just making your life easier, it's making life easier for everyone around you. Okay, the easier it is, the smoother the day goes, the better people will respond to how you are directing and what you're telling them to do, so on and so forth. The first thing I want to go over is something I believe is of pinnacle importance. It's the location that you're shooting in. Now, of course, you might be sitting there thinking, like, of course, location. Yeah, sure, we gotta know where to shoot it. Yeah, but you have to use the location, the environment, to your advantage.
We only get 8 people. It's going to be shot. We can't do the ramparts. It's going to look too empty.
The location will dictate to you, to an extent, how the battle sequence will go. How are you going to get from point A to point B to point C? Beginning, middle, and end. The more you use the environment, the more it draws in the audience. Another big thing to figure out beforehand is how many freaking people do you need to shoot something like this? The best advice I can give you is, again, to watch other movies. Watch other movies, watch the battle sequences, and count how many people are actually in a frame. Okay, sometimes in the close frames, not the wide frames, because if wide frames, of course, you're gonna get hundreds. Like, oh, okay, obviously not. In the tight frames, count how many individuals are in the shot. Usually it's about seven or 8. If you only have 7 to 8 people, like, you're just gonna be getting tight shots. There's not gonna be any wide shots because the wider it is, the more evident it is that there's only 7 or 8 people. But the tighter you keep it, the more cluttered it is, the more busier it is. That's what you need to prepare for. Food. Freaking food. All right. Definitely important. You guys are going to be out there for a long time, doing a lot of stuff, doing a lot of stunts, constant moving around. If you have armor, you have guys wearing armor, these guys are going to be weighed down. They're going to get thirsty, hungry, whatever. I know it may be something that people overlook, but it's extremely important because it keeps everyone's adrenaline high, it keeps the spirits high, and that's what you want when you're doing a fast-paced sequence like this where guys are constantly going back and forth, back and forth. Scheduling. Scheduling is very important. I had the guys from the company Tales of Revolve, based in here in Tallinn, Estonia, who do medieval tours around the city. Phenomenal. These guys had put the schedules together. They had gotten the cars ready. Whoever had cars for whoever was coming to the battle sequence, they just all stacked up into these vehicles, carpooled all the way over. It's ghetto. It's ghetto, but it works. It works. So before the battle scene happens, you want the correct costumes. Now, that sounds like, oh, you might say like, oh, Nathan, like, I mean, duh. I mean, yeah, duh. But like, I cannot tell you how many times I've watched low budget films where the costumes look like they just freaking walked out of a laundromat. Squeaky clean, pressed, ready to go. Like, nah, my guy. Whether it's realistic or not, doesn't matter. Does it look good on film? Yes, continue. This is the one thing that you totally have in your control. You know, this doesn't cost money to toss dirt maybe it does. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, because then you gotta get clean, so it does cost some money, but yeah, I mean, come on. Storyboard. I totally understand that not everyone has an artist on hand that is willing to sit there and just freaking draw every frame. I totally get it. I didn't have it either. So what can we do in place of that? So what I did is I took sequences from some of my favorite films, sequences that I liked that kind of outlined the story that I had in my head. And what I would do, just go on YouTube and you grab, you watch these clips and you grab them from there and you put them into Final Cut Pro or DaVinci Resolve or whatever you're editing with for your own personal use. So just something you have on hand that gives you a visual storyboard. For example, there's this scene where my friend German, he is on the ramparts and he goes from one point of the rampart to the point where the flag is being waved. That sequence was taken, the idea from the sequence was taken from the movie Kingdom of Heaven, in the scene where Orlando Bloom, Balian, is going from one part of the wall to the flag bearer to kill him and throw the flag off the rampart. Now, it doesn't look like the same scene at all because I just, I redid it to how I saw fit. But to remind myself on the shoot day, like what was coming next, I had that visual storyboard with me as a reference point. You study it on the shooting day, you already know what's popping, you know what's going down. All you got to do is tell the guys, okay, boom, 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 this is what's popping, do it, action. So that wraps it up for this week, guys. Later on, after the whole series is done, after we've covered all the aspects that I want to talk about for this battle sequence, I'll do a Q&A, a live Q&A here on the channel. So any questions that you guys have, you can ask me more specifically, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Next week, I'm going to go over the cinematography behind the battle sequence. If you haven't seen the battle sequence, I'm going to link it right freaking there. Bada bing, bada boom. We're going to go over camera placement as well as camera movement. Spoiler alert, it's all handheld. So, how many cameras were being used? Funny story about that. I'm also going to cover choreography. The choreography that is used based on the lens that is being used, and how to pull off shots that look absolutely crazy, but in reality are probably some of the most ridiculous things you ever see in your life. If you guys like the video, subscribe, like, talk to you soon. Have a phenomenal weekend. We out here.